Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. Is my voice fine?
Good afternoon, sir. We will be starting it shortly. Let the students join.
Sure, sure. Can you let me know if the voice is okay?
Sir, you are on mute actually.
I am not actually from my system, I'm not.
Okay, sir, sure. मुझे सुनाई क्यों नहीं दे रहा है?
Can you confirm if the audio is fine now?
Yes, sir, the audio is fine. We can hear you all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So with your permission, we would like to start the session.
Sure, go ahead, please.
Yes. So a very good afternoon to one and all present here. Today, we, the Placement Committee of MDI Murshidabad, take immense pleasure in welcoming you all to the inaugural ceremony of our corporate talk series, Ameya. Ameya, which means limitless or boundless in Sanskrit, perfectly embodies the spirit of our institution. At MDI Murshidabad, we believe in pushing the boundaries of knowledge and excellence, and the series is a testament to our commitment in providing students with invaluable insights and perspectives from the corporate world. In the fast-paced and ever-evolving world of business and industry, we must stay ahead of the curve. This series will provide valuable knowledge and ignite the flames and boundaries which vanish and the limitless potential unfolds. So let us embark on this remarkable journey with Ameya, our beacon of limitless possibilities and knowledge. It is my distinct pleasure now. Today we have with our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Manu Bhatia. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you a true industry leader with rich experience currently working as an associate director at Verizon India. He is an esteemed alumnus from IIM Amritsar and has completed his engineering from College of Engineering, Roorkee. He has worked with organizations with passion for connecting with people and partners and fostering their growth. With his immense industry knowledge and expertise in technology transformation, mobile technologies, and end-to-end telecom OSS and BSS systems, he leverages his skills in leading service channels and leading with innovation and digital-first mindset, being awarded for best practices in digital transformation in a prestigious forum of CII DX 2022. Today, he will be sharing his valuable insights on the topic digital transformation. And we are thrilled to host you, sir. So, without a further ado, let's get started. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot. So, absolutely excited to be here and would like to share what have been my learnings on the front of digital transformation or transformation in general in the corporate world. So I have got certain slides so that we have a proper talk track. So if you can give me the access, then I can probably share that and then we'll walk us through. But my request would be, go ahead, please.
So the access is given. You can try it now.
Okay. Let me know if you guys are able to see it.
Yes, sir. The screen is visible to us.
Okay, good. So what I would want to do is we'll walk through what is digital transformation, how the industry has evolved, and where we are right now versus where we are headed. Some of the things that I would like to cover are around how digital transformation has shaped the technology till date and where we are going towards, and what is the learning that all of you should come with as you enter a corporate world. So brief overview of the organization that I work with, Verizon, has been in India for from 2001, and we have currently 6,000 employees working across Bangalore, Chennai, and Hyderabad. And as you would know, Verizon is a telecommunication company, a very large organization working, leading the technology innovations and the communication journey in US, with the first to launch 5G across the world. So we'll come back to how Verizon India has evolved. What I want to probably let you know is how this session is structured. We'll talk about transformation in general, some of the things and key technology trends in telecom industry. I would want to spend some time on sharing my perspective of what is change versus transformation, which is very important for us to relate to when we are headed in the right direction. And as we complete this journey, I would walk us through how Verizon India has transformed in over the last 20 years plus and where we are at right now. What I would appreciate is if you have any questions, let's have the discussion during the session, or we can have question and answers at the end as you feel comfortable. Okay, so brief about industry in general. All of you are probably aware about it. What was industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 versus 4.0, how mechanization, automation, and finally now digitization is playing a key role in the industries all over the world. The aspect that I want you to understand is how telecom has been an enabler for this industry. Everything that we do depends upon technology getting the bandwidth to evolve, getting the bandwidth to operate. That is where telecom industries come into picture. And that is where Verizon as a leading telecom charter plays an immense role in how the industry is transforming itself. As we are headed towards Industry 5.0, which is going to be bound by hyper-personalization, machines and humans working together, a lot of machines becoming more inclusive with AI and more aware of their surroundings, self-dependent, it is important to understand what are the guiding principles around this. Many of the companies you will hear now are operating in a circular economy. Sustainability is going to be key as we head towards the next phase of industry because of how the ecosystem is evolving. Okay, the telecom industry, as I mentioned, has been in the center of how technology has shaped. Now, while you might be aware of a lot of this, I want to spend some time on what are the 8 currencies that 5G is looking for. Throughput obviously is one of them. The speed that we provide to our customers, the deployment, how fast and vast we can deploy the 5G network will give the throughput. Mobility in general, as we move towards connected devices, connected cars, self-operating machines, throughput and connection is going to be the key for the next phase of industry evolution. Volume of data, latency, and reliability are obviously table stakes. You cannot have latency if you are going to use 5G or immersive technologies to do real-time activities or machines to adapt to real-time situations and respond. So these are the technology currencies that 5G bring to the picture. And that is where Verizon is one of the companies leading the charter. Now, telecom industry in general has had a lot of trends that has evolved over the time. Now, I'll touch upon some of them, but feel free to stop me if you have a question or discuss anyone in detail. Mobile first approach. If you remember telecom in the old days, telecom was a landline probably in a location somewhere on a PCO shop. Then it evolved to having every house coming with their own landline. But the place where we are right now, it is a mobile first world. Everything is derived on mobility. So all the things that a telecom industry or provider or a telecom provider should be focusing on is on a mobile first approach. That how can we bring technology to the palm of a customer? How can it move along with him and react and adapt to what the customer wants? Then omni-channel experience has been a complete revolution in the last few years. Sorry. We used to have multiple channels of engagement throughout the organization. If you take an example of, let's say, Airtel as a telecom provider in India, you might have Airtel pop-up stores in your location. You might have Airtel stores in general. Then you might call in Airtel center, and you might have an Airtel app on your mobile to do any transaction for your account. What the customers are looking for today is an omni-channel experience. That means if you do an interaction with a store representative in an Airtel store, you would obviously want to see that when you come back on the app, your interaction there is carry forwarded. The system should be aware that you have approached us for a problem, and we should be able to relate to it in all the channels that we provide to you. Omni-channel also means that for a customer, the experience when he's talking to us on web versus on mobile, or when he's calling a center is same. We should not be confusing our customers more with different experiences across different channels. Intelligent virtual assistants, you are all aware of generative AI large language models. But intelligent virtual assistants have evolved even before that. And this is just the next set of evolution for them. Hyper-personalization is knowing what your customer needs. Industries today operate on personalization from a very long time, and not just telecom as an industry. If you are using any other app for that matter, Amazon, Google, they would know your choices. They would give you options based upon your choices. Some of the industries are very far ahead in hyper-personalization. Some of the industries are still catching up. But it would ideally mean that whatever you are choosing, whatever you are planning to do, based upon your choices, based on your profile, we should be able to preempt it and give you the choices that are suitable for you. Okay. Another great trend which has evolved over the years is a digital twin. In layman terms, a twin would mean a digital replica of anything physical. And this has immense opportunities and capabilities or utilizations in an industry. Sure. So twin, as I was talking about, is a replica of a physical entity. Many organizations or industries are using it very effectively, where it makes sense, where it gives you the information readily so that you can do permutations on a device. For example, if you're making a new machine part, you have a twin of a machinery as a component as a whole, or a machinery as a whole. A replica of a part can be used by the manufacturing companies to see how that part will integrate to the rest of the machines. It can also mean that you are getting real-time data on your IoT or your remote devices to do permutations, how it is performing. Um, some of the examples would be in, let's say, car manufacturing companies. They would want to know the usage of the parts on a car and preempt when a failure of a part can occur. So these are simple evolutions of digital twin. There can be large evolutions. There can be experimentation on how digital twin for an human entity can be performed. There are a lot of applications for it on the medical side, which are still evolving. So this is one area which is going to play a vital role as we evolve, and telecom industry has to evolve with it or enable this to make it successful. Some of the things again, AR, VR, XR are technologies which was existent for quite a while. During your pandemic, this exploded. Now we are going back to see what is the right usage of this platform. You would have all seen metaverse as an example or gaming worlds as an example where AR, VR are still very expensive. Many organizations have experimented on a metaverse kind of platform for their virtual stores. That was during the boom when metaverse was picking up during the pandemic. At this point, those are not really revenue generating platforms. They are good awareness platform to attract your next gen or Gen Zs who are on those platforms to give awareness of the brand. But more of this will come in terms of training. So these platforms have been existent. Now people are becoming more aware of it and finding the right avenues to use it. Similarly, multilingual capabilities on a chatbot or an AI are table stakes. Your customers are not in your physical domain now, so you should be able to cater to everyone across across different language barriers. Okay, so now let's spend some time on what is the difference between change versus transformation. Change is iterative. What I mean is, you have a system, you want to make a modification to the system, an enhancement to the system. It is making changes to the system iteratively to understand or to adjust to the requirement or to the design of the need of the hour. So sometimes we are differentiating or some confusing change versus with transformation, which is what I want to see that we are very clear about. Transformation is a journey. It is not an iterative change or a reactive change or a proactive change. It is a proactive journey where you need to understand the end state, define your North Star as we will call it, and then embark on the journey. It is always a very large journey. And transformation, what organizations usually fail to do is to see that how a transformation journey is tied to their objective. Whenever you at a later point or an organization is embarking on a transformation journey, they need to be clear on why they need this journey. People talk about digital transformation at length nowadays. Every company wants to get digitized. They want to get on a digital platform. But it is not an easy journey. You cannot, being let's say a physical entity or a large manufacturing firm or an organization which has not been on a digital platform yet, to get to a digital platform will be a transformation for them. It will require every part of the organization to come together, embrace that journey, and only then it will be successful. That's why it is always mentioned that transformation is going to be disruptive. It needs to solve for a problem that the organization wants to embrace, and it has to be top down. Why top down? Because it requires commitment. It requires an organization to commit to it, to be resilient about all the challenges it is going to face during the journey. And it needs to make sure that the employees or the organization itself is going to make the journey successful. Okay, it is very important that we understand this, that why a transformation is absolutely different than a change. Any questions so far from anyone? Okay, so let's move on. Now, why there is no perfect transformation? Because the environment that we operate on is always volatile. You might take a path or might decide on a path during the journey or during your transformation journey. You might see that you have to adjust the needs, because as I mentioned, it is not going to be, let's say, a 2 month journey or a 3 month journey. Usually transformations evolve over years, and it is always continuous. That means the technology that you would have started with might be obsolete by now, or you might have found that there's the solution that you work towards might not work in the landscape that you're going to operate 2 years down the line. So you need to evolve. You need to stay true to your objective to see that you want to get to a digital organization. But the path that you might take might change. And that is why remaining resilient, being committed to it is always important. And I'd like to take a couple of examples. During our tenure in Verizon, we have been through multiple transformations. So I've been here from 2006 and was working, when I joined here from my college, I was working on the mainframe as a platform. And on the far end of the telecom stack, I was operating on the billing side of the technology. Verizon, as you would know, was built by merging of a lot of different telecom operators at that point. And I was working on the wireline side of the organization at that point. Now I'm working on the wireless side. On the wireline side, we had systems by regions. You would have a New Jersey software system, then you might have something on the West Coast software system. As the company evolved, we understood that it needed for us to react to the market faster and for us to solve for the problems of the entire customer that we serve, we needed a system which is more reactive. So we had a transformation program of merging all these systems. It obviously, the aim was very simple, that our systems needs to be common for all the customer base. We are operating as a single organization, and that should appear to our customers also. It should not be that our New Jersey customers face a different set of problems or gets a different set of offers than maybe a New York customer would get. So that way the system should be combined. That was our transformation journey, at least one of them that I was part of. It was a large program. We took, I believe, 2 to 3 years to merge all the systems into one, because it was operating or delivering a system while there were enhancements coming on the existing systems as well. Right? So that is why it's an organization need, because of which an organization undertook transformation. Now we spoke about Omni experiences as one of the telecom industry trends. That was one of the transformation that our organization also took part in. Why Omni? Is because I explained to you that customers are now expecting that every channel that they face, it is single company that they're interacting with. So why do we have to give diverse set of information? Why are we not able to take information from one channel of interaction to another channel of interaction for our customers? That is why building an omni-channel experience was important. And that was a very large overall for our organization. And we didn't even think about Omni as a single problem to solve. We thought about Omni as one of the problems to solve, which will give us future readiness for our brand. So during these journeys, it was not that we were able to achieve it on the exact date that we wanted to, and that is okay. You need to have, as I mentioned, resilience to meet these objectives. You need to be committed to see that we are moving forward, because with every change, there is going to be some unknowns that will come into picture. You are not operating in a static environment any longer. The industry per se will change, or the expectation from your customers will change, or the customers themselves might change. If you have a transformation running across for, let's say, 2 to 3 years, there's a new set of customers who are coming on board to your industry. So all these factors take part in you and your organization running a transformation program. Okay, so now digital transformation. This is where most of the organizations are at this point. Why digital transformations? And there are a lot of myths around it. We'll talk about some of them. One of the biggest myths is digital transformation is about technology. So as I was alluding to earlier, this is a commitment, but more so than technology, digital transformation involves people. Another example that I can provide you is, as I mentioned, I was working on the mainframe side of the technology. For anyone who doesn't know, it is one of the legacy systems, highly scalable, not scalable, highly secure, highly reliable, very fast, but it has a cost associated to it. Scaling is always a problem. We needed to migrate to a more open source and scalable environment to be able to operate in the new gen system, new cloud systems like Amazon or Azure, which mainframe was not compatible with. And these systems were able to get us out of a legacy maintenance of the servers to everything on cloud and gave us scalability that was earlier not imagined. Now our technology systems need to migrate away from mainframe to open source to take advantage of these opportunities. Now, why this example is important is because if our systems were primarily mainframes, meant that all our technology teams working on the systems were from mainframes. So it is not just making technology change from systems from mainframe to Java or React.js or whatever that might be. The people working on the technology also need to see a path forward, and they need to adopt. They need to embrace this change. That is why people and experiences, how you communicate transformation program, how do you make sure that everyone in your team or the organization embraces this change is very important. Along with this transformation of the system, we had to plan for training for everyone involved, because the team members who were on the system had the right knowledge about the system. They knew how our customers operate, how our systems operate. They are the key to migrate the technology as well, and they should be part of the technology. That's why every digital transformation, this is just an example that I gave from my organization. Let's take any example of, let's say, a small MSME who wants to digitize their operations. So when I say digitize their operations, means today they are, being a small industry or a medium industry, they might be doing everything at a department level in registers, in Excels. They are maintaining, they are able to run their shop effectively. If they want to completely onboard a, let's say, ERP software, that's a change. Everyone needs to start using a different software. Everyone needs to be aware that the changes that they are doing, they need to be making it on a different application. All applications need to interact, and there obviously be differences found in how, or efficiencies found down the line. That does not mean that how the organization was operating earlier was incorrect, but the need of the organization has changed. And with that, the people who are running the organization earlier need to be included in this change. That's why digital transformation is also about people, training, and experiences. Another myth is that transformation will decrease the human workforce. It might bring efficiencies, but you always need the experts to be on the floor. Okay, then whether transformation is only for industry giants, I think it has been broken for many an example that all of you would have seen. Every new entity or every large organization today, for the likes of Amazon, Facebook, were digital companies. They solved for a problem digitally that the earlier industries were not doing. So it is always an incumbent who comes in and changes the technology most of the time. So it is not only the industry giants who are leading transformation, it is usually a newcomer, and the giants will follow. Now, if an industry industry leader who has been there in the industry for a very long time is not thinking transformation, there is very good chance that they might be lagging behind in quite upcoming days. So everyone needs to undertake the journey, but it is not always for an industry leader to be doing the transformation. Now, fourth very important myth that everyone should be aware of is that transformation ends with implementation. Transformation phase might end, you might achieve what you embarked on, but it does not end there. You need to evolve, you need to continue to assess whether your solution today is ready for your future, or what you assessed when you started the journey is still relevant or not. Okay, and then lastly, it is not an IT scope of work alone. If it is digitization, yes, a lot of technology will come into play, but it is not only for that technology teams to be embarked on that journey. Okay, so what are the challenges that we face, or any organization would face when they are taking up a transformation as a program? Internal resistance. This is what I kind of touched upon when I was talking about, let's say, an MSME getting into a digital world. You have people who are comfortable with how they are doing things today. When you get everything centralized with an ERP or bring a new digital software, there's always learning associated to it, and there's always resistance to it. Resistance can also be for the fact that now maybe some of the gaps in the process will also come into fore. So these resistances have to be handled. That's why ensuring that everyone is aware of the vision, aware of the need of the vision, will just reduce this resistance. Then adopting a new technology means getting involved in the new technology, learning that technology yourself. That hesitancy is always there. And from an organization perspective, yes, there's a cost to upskill and reskill, which an organization has to commit to. That's why initially I mentioned that this is a top-down approach. The management has to commit to transformation and commit to the required cost of transformation. Okay, now some of the macro environment things that can affect your transformation are obviously changing landscape. As I was mentioning, you might think that the technology will work, or there might be additional governance rules attached. Today, generative AI is new, it is vast, it is at present unhindered, but there are going to be regulations around it. When we started with Facebook and others, it was misutilized also in many places. That is where your privacy acts and other things came into picture. So when you move a needle in a new direction, you will obviously have some of the laggards come into picture in terms of how the technology should also be governed. So the regulatory landscape, when it changes, will impact you, and that has to be absorbed. Geopolitical uncertainties on digital initiatives are similar to what I was mentioning, that what might work in one area might not be required in another area of the world, or might have more governance around it. Then frequent changes to technology itself. Well, let's take an example of any technology that you might be familiar with. Mobile as a technology, the ones that I work on, has evolved to a vast extent from where we started. You might have screens which are more adaptive. You might have technologies we move from, let's say, native to web, now back to Flutter, now back to native based upon the advantage that it's giving, and how the native landscape itself by itself is changing. So the technology by itself will move. Every technology that you might be using, you might shift away from it, then come back to it also because of the advancement that it would have brought. So since everyone is moving towards a change, you might have to reassess where you want to, what is the technology source that you have to use. And scrutiny of the data act, data privacy, protection of customer data are obviously some of the things that we have learned with some of the technology advancements or the tools or the applications that have come, and they are now stronger than ever when you have to do anything new. Okay, I mean, some of the common mistakes, I don't have to go through all of them. They are self-explanatory, but as we spoke about some of them, that transformation requires consistent application of technologies and investment in people. If you are not invested in your current team and you think that with the technology a team can be changed, there's a huge chance of that transformation to fail. If the transformation is successful, there's a lengthy runway for the organization to pick up to where they were earlier, because you have people who know the business, and that investment in people needs to continue. Okay, then one of the things that we already spoke about, that digital transformation and change management are different. Change management is how you adapt to a change. How do you make sure that your organization is ready for a change? Digital transformation is a journey with an end in mind. During that process, you manage the change. Okay. Okay, some of the hallmarks, again, self-explanatory. I'll read through some of them for your understanding. Set the North Star for the team. Clearly define the winning aspirations and ensure that embodied across the team as a shared purpose or vision. This is, according to me, one of the most important things. We spoke about it earlier. You need to know what is your end goal, what is the North Star. You need to know that North Star is solving for what purpose. And then that purpose has to be communicated. It has to be communicated at various phases. It has to be communicated during the entire journey, and everyone should be aligned towards it. Transformation thrives on people-centric approach. We have spoken about it at length. It is not a system transformation, it is people transformation and a company transformation. Okay, continuous learning and improvement through experimentation. There'll obviously be failures. That's why resilience is an important aspect. There's a commitment which is required, and you need to be dedicated to the cause. With the failures, you will obviously learn something, so move ahead. You will not always be on the same path of transformation. You need to know that there is going to be change in the end goal, change in the timeline, change in the path during transformation. Okay, and repeat until it becomes norm is obviously, you need to continue to evolve. You need to continue the journey. Okay, so that's all I had on transformation. I'll cover maybe quickly how Verizon has transformed, which will give you a perspective that transformation can occur in different phases of the organization. Transformation happens throughout the organization, not only in the technology perspective, but at an organization journey itself. So what is our winning aspirations? We want to be able to deliver the solutions that our customer and employee love. And we want to be the technology and investment center for our company. We want to be able to attract the world-class technology talent. Okay? And we want to share our success with our society. These are the winning aspirations that Verizon in general aspires to have. Now, as I was mentioning, Verizon has been in India from 2001. We started as operation center. That means a lot of programs were getting delivered from here. And now we are moving towards an innovation center for our organization, that is Verizon US. Now, during this journey, what has been our focus? We had obviously had the focus on ensuring that the delivery is optimized, because that was our core business. Verizon India was started as a delivery organization. Now, how does delivery get optimized? By investing in your people and the culture, and how do you make sure that that culture is self-sustainable? Okay. Now, we have obviously done a lot of work in ensuring that. So if let's take a step back. If Verizon India wants to be the center of innovation, we need to have people in the technology who wants to be entrepreneurs, who wants to innovate at every aspect. And that is an idea that the organization needs to absorb. That is where I was telling that it's a vision, that everyone in the organization should be aligned towards. And just sharing a vision does not work. The organization should give you avenues to bring that culture within the organization. That's why in Verizon India, we do a lot of challenges within our team, hackathons per se, or innovation play arounds. We take every opportunity to see that our team members in India are tied to the business very thoroughly. And how does that happen? By giving them business problems to resolve. Those are our themes of innovations, where the team comes up with technology solutions to everything that is thrown towards them. It, one, ties it back to the business that we operate in. Second, it continues to give us an opportunity to innovate and learn technology. Okay. So what have we done? How have we reached this point as an innovation hub? Is continuous focus on training. 70% of the employees in our organization are trained in one or more of the emerging technologies. And as I mentioned, innovation is really encouraged. We have 100+ patents from the team India itself. Okay. For the new set of technologies, there are COEs formed. There are people who are getting industry knowledge about it, sharing with the team, forming a central group, and sharing that knowledge across the organization. So we have invested heavily on AI, ML, AR, VR, conversational technologies. 5G, as I mentioned, Verizon was the first to launch 5G in the entire world. And the deployment, the systems for 5G are developed and delivered from Verizon India. Tech enablement of all the systems that I had. I spoke about some of the transformations we had done over my career in my teams, and similar journeys most of the teams in Verizon had undergone, and they were handled from Verizon India in partnership with our global teams. And we have now been very active in ensuring that our presence in the industry is also felt. So we are participating in industry events. We are ensuring that the learnings that we have had, we take it to different forums like CII awards that was discussed earlier. Okay, so what are the four drivers for transformation? Efficiency, speed, innovation, and employer of choice. It is very important that Verizon is preferred employer in India. Only then we attract the right talent. And if we are able to do that, we will be able to deliver on our promise of doing the right delivery with the right skills for our parent company. We have to build experiences for our customers, which are end users, with a deep knowledge of technology. Only then those experiences will make sense. They'll be ready for the future generations. And as I mentioned, as an innovation hub, we are invested on COEs. I operate and run a mobile and immersive COE in the organization. And most of the work that we do is not for my horizontal, for my organization. It is for other organizations. We have the skill set running a mobile application for Verizon. I have a team who's highly skilled on mobile application development. During pandemic, we spent a lot of time in learning the next set of technologies like AR, VR. So we have an expertise in that. That expertise, we are now running horizontally within Verizon India to see that other technology teams. I operate in a consumer business. My peers operate in a Verizon business. We need to ensure that the learnings I have, they can easily absorb. So that is where COEs come into picture. Okay. So again, how we go about it, a detailed charter is always developed, defined set of goals and objectives are there, which is always necessary for a transformation. We need to see if our aim is to become the best employer in India, what are the things we need to do to get there? Okay. Stakeholder buy-in is secured in initial stages. It ties back to what I was telling. This is a top-down approach. Everyone is aware, everyone is committed towards, and everyone is buying in on the idea that we have to take this journey. That is why the participation across the board happens. Okay, and for any change, you need to have change catalyst or change agent or transformers. This is, I think, one of the a very small aspect to it, but very powerful. If you are trying to do, let's say, in your college, if you want to, let's say, organization, you want to start a new committee, you would obviously need people to come and participate in it. To do that, you need people to promote the idea. That is what a change agent or a transformer does. They need to create awareness. They need to make sure that others understand what you are trying to do. And only then you will have the right minds coming together. Make sense? Okay. Now, during our journey, some of the obvious challenges were faced, which through technology or through vision, the teams were able to overcome. During pandemic, not only for Verizon, but every organization faced an extreme change in the way they used to work. Some of the glass ceilings which were there for security, for other things, rapid solutions were developed around them. So these challenges sometimes shorten your transformation window. So if I had to, let's say, build a virtual store for Verizon, prior to pandemic, I would have said maybe 5 years is where the store would be launched and people will start using it. We went into 2019, 2020, the store was live. We did not have that much of adoption, yes, because that was an experimentation platform, but the store was live. So we almost cut the journey by 1/3/4 or half at least. Some of the things that during that pandemic and post-pandemic, again, resignation, the great resignation was the problem that every organization was facing. We were able to solve it very efficiently and very quickly because of certain things that we did very rapidly. We had some of the tools built called Wall of Fame, which was the one that we were recognized for in the CIA as well. These are digital solutions provided to give visibility to employees. We very rapidly move towards training, reskilling, upskilling of the team members, giving them opportunities to rotate internally, giving them confidence. There were a lot of organization policies that were initiated during the pandemic and post-pandemic, which were unique to Verizon. And that helped us show the value that we are bringing to the employees, and they were ready to stay back. Employee engagement through the wall of fame, and other tools that were built during this journey where people were not coming to office or not meeting each other physically was very important, because we needed to build that camaraderie still. People who are not, if you are in office, you spend some time, 15-20 minutes in a huddle, for a coffee or over lunch, and you build that relationship. During pandemic, the people who joined missed that. Even the people who have been in the organization for a very long time missed getting in touch with others. So we had to build platforms where engagement can continue. We had to carve out time from our daily schedules where engagement was prioritized. So those are the things that an organization, when they are operating, or should know the challenge, and then everyone should be ready to adopt them. Okay, some of the others were again continuous upskilling, continuous learning, adopting of the technologies, change management, focus groups. As I mentioned, there's supposed to be a transformation office or transformers or change agent who are going to help us embed all these journeys. Okay, so that's all I had. Let me stop sharing so that we can open it up for some Q&As. Any questions on this? Any thoughts? Anything else you would want to hear about it in terms of transformation, digital transformation?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So my question is, what is the most critical challenges businesses face in their digital transformation journey today? and how we should equip ourselves to address this in future roles?
So one major challenge is clarity of what we have to do for transformation. It is always good to have an aim to move towards digital transformation. But are you solving for a problem which requires a digital transformation is very important, and that vision has to be clear to everyone, as I mentioned. So, for example, let's take, I'll take Verizon also as an example, right? Verizon has been in business for a very long time. During that tenure, the customers have moved toward digital adoption. We still do a lot of business in physical stores. We would want to do a lot of business on digital because it is cost efficient. But that is the transformation that our customers needs to go. We need to give them opportunities, solutions on the digital that they are comfortable with so that they move to digital. Now that is true for any digital transformation folks. If you want to move, or if your organization want to operate digitally, are they giving the right tools, or do they have the right objectives to move digital? Is very important. And then the biggest challenge, as I mentioned, is ensuring that everyone moves towards that journey along with you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I had a question for you. So,
Sure.
as you said that the transformation is not only for the big players. So, how could India's MSMEs, where the emails, the official website is only with 30% of the MSMEs. So, how could digital transformation? How could MSMEs could maximize their benefit from this very transformation that we are seeing in the telecom industry?
Again, it would depend upon what they want to achieve. If you see any MSME, particularly if you look at manufacturing as an industry, it is self-sustaining in terms of what they do to gain revenue. If it is a retail business, then they have obvious platforms where they can onboard themselves to use the digital channels and move towards acquiring customers. Any mom and pop store or your local kirana stores are another example of a small industry who would want to move to a digital platform to make sure that their range is expanded. So it depends upon what that industry wants to achieve. What are their goals? Some of manufacturing industry might have a very simple goal that I want visibility of every department at my fingertips. I want to see real-time updates in terms of inventory, in terms of my capacity, in terms of my laggards or advancement in my shop floor. So the goals can be very simple. Objectives can be tied to your internal efficiencies or your revenue savings. For example, moving to digital obviously gives you some revenue advantages because maintaining a physical store, physical entities are more expensive than maintaining a digital asset. So it has to be clear on the objective and what they want to achieve to get a digital advantage of a digital transformation.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I do have a question, sir. So with the advancement of telecommunication sector, what can be said about the future of cloud computing?
Can you repeat that?
So with the advancement of the telecommunication sector, what can be said about the future of cloud computing?
See, as I was mentioning earlier, where we are headed is on your how do I say it? Real-time computing, right? So your throughput, your latency, and your bandwidth are going to play a very important role. That is where 5G as a technology will be of a huge advantage because of those currencies that I mentioned earlier that it brings to the fore. The throughput of a 5G systems is extremely high. Latency will depend upon how you deploy a 5G as a technology. That's why covering the landscape. 5G is going to be very nascent. You need to have a very close range in which you operate. You cannot have like 4G, a tower maybe covering 20 kilometers radius. 5G will not work that way. So you need to have more deployments. As you have more deployments, as you are able to increase throughput, your cloud computing speeds will increase, because you are going to move towards machine operations. You are going to move towards more IoT operations, where real-time instructions, real-time data has to be transferred, processed, and instructions given back. If you take an example of a self-driving car, and it has to be monitored remotely for any inefficiencies, throughput is going to be very important, and latency is going to be very important.
Thank you, sir. I got it.
Good evening, sir. My question to you is that as companies begin adapting the digital transformation, what do you think would be the impact regarding workforce skills that employees would have?
Yeah, so that is actually a very good question, and I kind of alluded to it during the session also. Digital transformation does not mean that you have a completely new employee base. You need to ensure that people who are currently on the floor are trained. Let's take an example of a retail store. Today, you might have a large supermarket in your area who want to go digital. They cannot 100% transform to a digital platform immediately. They need to have a slow absorption of digital from their customers, from their loyal customers. They need to adopt their digital platform, move towards it. And then on the store also, your teams on the floor are also required to be skilled on that digital platform. Otherwise, your adoption is always lagging. You are at one place pushing that digital platform to the customers, but when they end up in the store, they do not see that relation. So if you remember, we spoke about omni experiences. If a customer is coming back to store, you should also show them the similar experiences and encourage them to use digital. So the same employees' role are going to change. Yes, in a digital transformation, obviously there will be some efficiencies found. You might not operate with the same headcount that you do when you are moving from, let's say, 2% digital to 50% digital. But during that journey, everyone has to be part of it. They have to be reskilled.
Thank you so much.
So,
Good evening, sir.
Okay.
My question is, how does the availability of high-speed internet access, even in remote areas, impact the enterprise to expand their operations and go in the new markets?
yeah, so it is, if let's say you are talking about, can you give an example of the enterprise probably you have in mind? Maybe the domain, because based upon that, the answer might differ.
So not any particular domain, any.
So if you see your e-commerce for that matter, right? At that point, speed is not important. Reach is important. And that reach has to be tied to their physical operations also. So in lower tier cities where maybe the infrastructure is not that strong yet, availability of infrastructure and availability of that platform is important. Maybe the speed is not that important as it would do on a tier 1 city. So based upon the business that you are in, your deployment strategy to every width of the nation would differ.
Okay.
Due to time constraints, so we would be able to take one more question. So please, batchmates. If anyone would like to ask any question. Sir, I guess we are done with the question and answer round. Now, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for gracing us with your words and your presence and sharing your invaluable insights. Your expertise and your experience have provided us with a deeper understanding of the challenges and the opportunities in the corporate landscape, especially in the genre of digital transformation. We sincerely appreciate the time and your effort in enlightening us and your contribution to the success of our corporate talk series of MDI Murshidabad has been greatly acknowledged. So, thank you so much again, sir. Your words will undoubtedly resonate with us and as we embark on our corporate journey in the world of business and industry. Thank you so much, sir.
Glad to be here, and thank you for attending. Thank you for inviting me. Hope it gave you some insights that will be useful for you. And all the
Sure.
best to all of you.
Thank you so much, sir, again. It was an honor to host you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for being part of the session, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.